Saturday night, Amy Park, 5:40 p.m. kickoff. A sold-out crowd will see the Melbourne Storm, 5th place, taking on the Canberra Raiders, 8th place, as both teams battle in the first elimination final of the NRL series. Now, the Melbourne Storm side is up on the screen. We have Nick Meaney, David Nofaluma, Marion Seve, Justin Olam, Xavier Coates, Cameron Munster, Jerome Hughes, Jesse Bromwich, Harry Grant, Big Nelson, Felice Kafusi, Kenneth Bromwich, Josh Kinn, Brandon Smith, Tua Kamamika, Trent Laurie, Chris Lewis, and rounding out in number 18 is Jan Tunamapia. Now, I'll pop the Raiders screen up there. They did scrape into the 8 in massive fashion, but Baxter, talk me through this Raiders side.
Yeah, you got Xavier Savage in the fullback role. You got Nick Kotrick and Jordan Rapana in the wingers. You got Timiko and Sebastian Chris in the centers. You got Jack Wyden and Jamal Fogarty in the halves. Josh Papali'i and Joseph Tarpanay make the forward pack with Zach Wolf forward in the hooker role. You got Hudson Young and Elliot Whitehead in the second row with Adam Elliott making the lock. You got Tom Starling, Emre Agula, Corey Hornsborough, and CHN to make the bench, and Albert Hopawate to make the 18 role.
Well, there it is. We've got the two team lists. They are both up on the screen right now. For Melbourne Storm, Jerome Hughes has been named after he did miss round 25 with calf tightness. Cooper Johns goes to the reserve. Kemi Bromwich from a head knock and Nick Meaney from a shoulder injury should be right to go after they were injured against Parramatta. For the Raiders, rested last week, playmaker Jack Wyden returns back to the side with Elliot Whitehead. Corey Harinira reverts back to the bench and Matt Frawley goes to the reserves. And like you said, Hopawati does go to 18th man. Now, we didn't speak about this when we did speak about the Panther squad, but I'm going to bring it up now. Is it time for the NRL to adopt something like the AFL system? Now, before you go into finals, you have a week off. Every single team gets a bye. Now, for me, what this does is, if anyone's got injuries, you've got that extra week to get fit. If you're like Penrith and the Cowboys, it was supposed to be an absolute blockbuster. They rested 13 players. They got every right to do so. But if you know the following week you have a bye, you probably play full-strength squad. You probably play Penrith versus Cowboys full strength, and it's a spectacle for the fans. Now, what are your thoughts on that? Do you think we should be implementing that week off before finals to give players a rest so that when we do get to finals, it is the best players going at their best, most rested and most trained, ready to go?
No chance. Look, the AFL, next you're going to be talking about the NRL need to do a draft like the AFL do. They can put a bum up it and just let it go like Hiroshima, because that is the most stupidest idea ever to have.
So you're telling me, hold on, if the Cowboys had 11 players that we can cuss from last game, you would be happy to get knocked out?
Is what it is. Because, okay, we'll flip it, okay? So you got the Knights and the Sharks in the last game of the season. So what's to say that the Sharks run out with a full-strength squad that they did, and then the Knights go, well, let's just do these guys one, and then just injure them all, and it's longer than 2 weeks.
That's not going to happen, because these players are going to want to play next year. You do that, you miss 7-8 weeks of the season. They're not going to do that. They're not stupid.
So get rid of your week. No, the week can go, because that's just the stupidest idea. Play on as it is, because it is really good. Look, if a team like the Penrith Panthers do really well in the 25 rounds and can afford to go, this last game of the week, this, even if it's 2, 3, whatever it is, they can go, we'll just rest the players because we won't lose our spot from here to the finals. Go on, do it. It doesn't have to be about having the stars out there week in, week out. Yes, it does matter in the first, 15 rounds when you're fighting for every 2 points that you can get. And Penrith did so. And they deserve to sit 12 out of the starting 13 players out for 1 week, because they could afford to do it, because they put in the hard yards early on in the season.
This is a game that is for the fans. This is a game that is for the fans. Okay, then answer me this. Why did the NRL turn around and say for State of Origin, we're going to have a standalone weekend. It was because players were resting players. They weren't playing the week after. So they said, we're going to give you a standalone week so that everyone can relax. Why do they change it for one thing, but they're not going to change it for finals?
They're even changing that again because next season there is no standalone weekend. We're playing every State of Origin.
No,
game
there's talks already going on today in the newspaper that it's going to be 3 standalone weekends they're trying to squeeze in.
No, look for next season. I don't know about future, but for next season, it is going to be played all back on a Wednesday night, like how it should be. Now, if you're a player who can play State of Origin, you can talk to Cooper Conk, Cameron Smith, Jonathan Thurston, Billy Slater, Greg Inglis, Joey Johns, all the great New South Wales State of Origin players that I can't name off the top of my head. You talk to them, and they will tell you, after State of Origin, you just don't train. You just sit at home and you rest, and then you turn up the game day and you play. That's what an Origin player is. You don't need a rest off for a week or whatever. If you put in the hard yards as a team, as a collective, as a club, to make sure that you in the back end of the season that you get the opportunity to sit out for a week, I think it is allowed. It should be. Don't even give the week off, like that everybody gets a week off. That is the most stupid, because then you're just going to see teams just not even try and go, oh, well, we got a week off anyway. Don't worry about it. No, you get into it. This is what separates from the NRL to the AFL. AFL are down there, and I'm touching the floor, and the NRL up here, and I'm touching the roof, and I've got 4 meter high ceilings here. So that shows you the big difference between the NRL and the AFL, I believe.
Well, I mean, if you want to talk about the NRL, the pundits have had their say. We love listening to the pundits. The newspaper was 80% to 20% that this week off should come into play. So these ex-players that you're calling stupid right now, but you're idols of the game, Jonathan Thurston was behind this idea of having the week off. So there you go.
What's the really what does this week get off? Really,
the purpose is you look at all these players that are coming into this game that are probably carrying injuries. Look at Cameron Murray. They're risking him back. They're risking his health now. Has he passed by a doctor? Yes. But he's passed. So if he goes out there and gets concussed and something happens, that could have been all missed. Now, Joey Manu, he's back within a week.
Okay, let me just say this. We'll talk about this later. Cameron Murray, if this wasn't a semi-final, would they be pushing him back to be playing this week?
That's not the point.
I say no. If this was round 12 and the next week they got the Tigers or some other team, they wouldn't rush him back. So
your bloke was about to cut off his testicles so he could play in the finals football. And we're talking about
he did. He had a ruptured testicle. He cut it, and he did what he had to do. No. This week off thing is just a total nonsense, garbage, bullshit.
Well, again, hey, you know what? We'll chuck it on Instagram.
I bet you those 80% they favoured it were mostly New South Wales players, and they can have a look.
Well, Jonathan Thurston led it, so there you go. Your idol has led it.
I said most of them. I didn't say all of them.
Well, we'll chuck it up on a poll because I am 4 from 4 when we have got into these arguments and we have put it to a poll. I've won every single time, so we'll chuck it to a poll, but. Jumping into this, I am going Melbourne Storm. I'm going 13+. They have, obviously, Harry Grant starting. They've got Brandon Smith off the bench. They've got Munster and Hughes in the halves. I'm going 13+. I'll throw it to you. I already know what you're going to say, but I'll throw it across to you for your prediction.
Nah, look, you think I'm going Raiders because the last 4 times they've gone down to Amy Park, they've won.
And because I've seen your prediction for the finals that has the Raiders getting out of this round, but...
I've changed my tune since then because was it 2015? I think I sent you something and it was like the last time Melbourne had finished in a 5-8 spot was 2014. So this is a different scenario for Melbourne. If this was, 2 versus 3, I would have, maybe side with the Raiders, but this is a do or die. This is if you lose, there's no more footy for you this year. Pack it up, have your Mad Monday, worry about next season. So I am going with the Melbourne Storm here, 1-12. That is my change of tune. I know we talked about a little brackets thing, but I'm going to change it. You can change it for me. I'm going for the Storm, 1-12. That's it.
All right, Melbourne Storm 13 plus for me, 1 to 12 for Baxter. It means the Melbourne Storm will take on the loser of Penrith and Parramatta. It's going to be a cracking game. I hope the Raiders make it competitive, and let's just hope they bruise up a few of these Melbourne Storm players and kind of have them slowed down come the rest of the final series. But Baxter, we're both with Melbourne. Raiders, Ricky, great job getting in here. But, mate, we'll be back soon and we'll review your boys taking on the Sharks at Shark Park.
Peace.